All right. Welcome to Sunday drop number two, not Saturday. As I said at the beginning of the last drop, it was Saturday, but it was actually Sunday. We're doing all of our drops today. I looking forward to getting it all in. We just got done talking with Ed Kratz, beat writer for the Philadelphia Eagles and SI.com, talking about the Eagles, talking about the Colts, the Cowboys, and what a remarkable appearance of number one overall pick to the Raiders, Fernando Mendoza. Obviously, I've got a new man crush on him. Gets his first NFL start in his first NFL touchdown, all in the same game. It's amazing. But we move forward to something else even more, or maybe not even more, but equally as amazing. That's IndyCar. IndyCar up north of the border in Ontario. And joining us now is our IndyCar contributor, Mr. Derek Vance from Push to Pass podcast. Happy Sunday to you, sir. How is you?
Tom, again, as always, I'd like to start out with thanking you for giving me the opportunity to join you on this great platform that you have created. And yes, the NTT IndyCar Series north of the border this weekend, actually going to get things started in about 20 minutes or so up in Markham, Ontario.
Absolutely, and you know what? It's the right, and we'll talk about it real briefly because the issue has been resolved. But I just found it kind of bizarre. The promoter, the company that's supposed to put the track together, get everything together, they didn't get it finished, and so they had to call off practice, the first practice. And everything is fixed now. The track is good to go. But man, if you're the promoter of an IndyCar race and you can't finish the track, what are the chances that IndyCar is going to let you be a promoter again for any other race with them? What are your thoughts on that? That was just bizarre when I read that.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think, a black eye for the promoter, and yeah, it does the fans a disservice as well. You know, they were expecting practice on Friday. All the people that had their weekend planned up there in Markham, that they were going to get things kicked off on Friday, but unfortunately, that just wasn't the case, and we had to wait an extra day. Everything was jam packed into yesterday, and huge congratulations goes out, I think, to Louis Foster, who was able to grab his second career pole of his young career.
Yeah, Louis Foster. I heard a little bit of his interview as well. And going back to that, IndyCar president Doug Bowles, we know him. Doug Bowles is very disappointed in the promoters of the new Markham circuit, and we're not able to complete the head of the practice. So you and I both know Doug Bowles. It's hard to get him really disappointed about anything, but if he calls you out and says, "I'm really disappointed," good things aren't going to be happening with that promoter. We saw that happen, not necessarily with the track, but just the way that the promoter dropped the ball in Milwaukee a few years ago. And so I don't know if you go and the thing about it is they spend a buttload of money to get the rights to be the promoter. How you can not hit the deadline of getting a track ready to go is just incredible. Yeah, but yeah, let's move on. The Christian Lundgaard as well. He was atop the speed chart in the Markham race practices as well. Let's talk about him, Christian Lundgaard, and what are your thoughts about him and Louis Foster? Obviously, in the top of the speed charts. And I want to talk to you about our friend Alex Below here in just a second. But go ahead, Christian Lundgaard.
Yeah, maybe the best qualifying spot for Arrow McLaren with Christian Lundgaard. Obviously, he has been a road and a street course warrior this year, picking up 2 wins at those respective tracks. So, yeah, definitely a good shot for him to win today. But, yeah, getting back to Louis Foster, if you watch qualifying yesterday when Foster and his team put on those softer red compound tires, Louis took off, and he was about a second ahead of the rest of the field. So if that car is able to run with that red soft compound tire as they did yesterday, they're going to be tough to beat for sure.
Alex Palou, the points leader, Alex Palou, he had just kind of they call it like a rare mistake. The 4-time series champion crashed the number 12 in the number 12 qualifying session and qualified 12th in the number 10 DHL Chip Ganassi Racing Honda. He will start Sunday's race or today's race in a position higher following the 6-point grid penalty of Ed Carpenter Racing Alexander Rossi, who qualified 8th for an engine change after last week's race at Portland International Raceway. So the last time Palou started outside the top 10 was 24th in 2024 in the season finale at Nashville Super Speedway. Very rare mistake with Alex Palou. But if anybody can come back from that mistake, it's Alex Palou. I don't think I think we'd be more worried about it if it was somebody else. What are your thoughts about Alex Palou making a crash in qualifying? Almost never happens.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. What a rare mistake, as you mentioned, by Alex Palou. But making that rare mistake, to Alex Palou's credit, I see why he did it. He was able to save the car from further damage. All that was damaged was that left rear tire, I believe. So yeah, it's a rare mistake, as we pointed out, to see Alex Palou crash during qualifications. But to his credit, again, he was able to save that car from further damage.
Well, and that's good, and that just shows the talent and the skill that Alex Palou is. Let's go ahead and go through the lineup here, because we want to make sure that we get everything in with our IndyCar segment. Let's talk about we'll start with Louis Foster getting his pole up there in Ontario. Great road course driver. What are your thoughts about Louis and his chances in this race?
Oh, I definitely. That's one of my picks for the NTT IndyCar Fantasy League today is Louis Foster. Like I said, he's been fast all weekend. Surprisingly, if you were watching qualifying yesterday, all three Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan drivers got through to the Fast 12. So they have found something up there in Markham. But yeah, getting back to Foster again, road course experience, already has one win under his belt, and watching him all weekend, I definitely like his chances today.
Let's talk about the front the front three rows, if you will. Christian Lundgaard, Scott McLaughlin, and Rinus VeeKay. We're surprised and gratified to find themselves in the first three rows of the grid of the inaugural Ontario Honda Dealers Indy at Markham, regardless of the fact that Louis Foster and Rahal Letterman, Legan and Best beat them with a brilliant pole position. But moving on, Christian Lundgaard, Scott McLaughlin, and Rinus VeeKay. What are your thoughts about them?
Definitely experience there. A lot of wins for those drivers as well. Definitely like that they're running up in the front, because we know on street and road courses that if the more you are running towards the front, the better chance that you have. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens today, but definitely the winner could come from that group of drivers as well.
Kyle Kirkwood, he's one who does well in the road courses. What are your thoughts about Kyle Kirkwood today?
Again, Tom, you're reading my mind. That's another potential winner. Obviously, Kirkwood up there in points, and he does need a win. Because if he doesn't, even though Alex Palou did struggle during qualifying, he could still put some more distance behind himself and Kyle Kirkwood. So that's somebody that is looking for a win too. And we know how successful Andretti Racing or Andretti Global is on street and road courses.
Let's just kind of move down through our rankings here. We got Pato O'Ward in the top 5. Again, a driver that we talk about every week. You can't rule him out. But Pato O'Ward, what are your thoughts with him?
What an interesting weekend for him. I know he had some issues during qualifying that nullified one of his runs that would have got him through round 2. So he's going to be towards the, I think, the middle, around 10th to 15th. So he definitely has a lot of work to do. It's been a roller coaster, I think, type year for Pato O'Ward and that whole Arrow McLaren team.
What about our Indy 500 champion, Felix Rosenqvist? I mean, he has been right there in the mix of everything since the Indianapolis 500. And I would say, and I would venture to say that he's not really had um, they call it the honeymoon period of after winning the Indianapolis 500, where you see a big drop off in points and how they've been able to perform on the track. You've not seen that with Felix Rosenqvist. He's still in the top 10. What are your thoughts about him today?
Like I said, I thought he qualified very well. He was in the running for the pole until he got knocked out. He had a fast car on Friday, I believe. Kind of tailed off again there on Saturday, but if he hits the right strategy and the things fall his way, it is possible for Rosenqvist to find himself in the top 5 or even the race winner.
Let's talk a little bit about Will Power. Will Power hit the wall. His struggles continue to mount up with Andretti. I don't know whose fault it is, but again, we're not used to seeing Will Power in this position in the years that he's struggling with this year, with his first year with Andretti. I don't think he made a mistake per se with going over to Andretti, but you can definitely see the struggle that he's had in moving over from Penske to Andretti. Will Power, I don't look for him to do very well today, but we'll see.
Watching again, I was able to watch both practice sessions and qualifying on Saturday. Will Power, and I think the Fox broadcast did a tremendous job in doing a side-by-side on the lanes that Will Power was running. When he ended up brushing the wall and literally, I wasn't destroying, I guess, the right side of his car. He just got in a little too deep, is what it looked like compared to the other lines that he was running during the other practice sessions. So, yeah, I'm not sure if it's a struggle for Will Power switching over to Andretti for the cause of this, but just Will Power running a different line, and he paid a price for it.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about Joseph Newgarden. Sorry, I had a brain fart there just for a second. But Joseph Newgarden, what are your thoughts with him?
Again, great qualifying there for Joseph Newgarden. Actually, you know what? No, I take that back. Sorry, he's 20th. Struggle, obviously, for Newgarden. I know he had issues. I think he hit the same place or on the same side of his car that Will Power did. So definitely it's got to be a struggle, to say the least, for Joseph Newgarden this weekend, coming all the way from 20th. Same thing with Kyle Collette. I thought he had a great car during that first and second practice, but he ended up spinning out and hitting the wall as well. So he's going to be 19th. So he's got a lot of work to do as well as Newgarden.
What do you think about Marcus Ericsson? 3 of Ericsson's 4 career IndyCar Series victories have come from street court circuits at St. Petersburg, Nashville, and the Belle Isle. He won the inaugural downtown Nashville race in 2021. Marcus Ericsson, what are your thoughts?
He said I was there when he collected his first win at Nashville. It was an interesting day for him. But yeah, starting 4th, obviously anything can happen when you're in that first few packs of cars. During qualifying, during the Fast 6, I know he topped the charts a few times, but was knocked down to 4th. I think he's got definitely a good enough car to win today.
Let's talk about some of the sleepers that we might see today if we're trying to pick a dark horse or a sleeper. Let's go with Scott McLaughlin. McLaughlin has posted 2 top 6 finishes in 4 street races this season and ranks 6th in points and earned a street circuit in 2026. He has 4 top 7 finishes in the past 5 races this season. Scott McLaughlin, what are your thoughts?
Tom, I think you're reading my mind because for the NTT IndyCar Fantasy League, that's another pick that I went with. Plus, that is my pick to win or finish the highest in the podcast picks as well. So you're definitely reading my mind. I'm going to give you another dark horse that has been fast all weekend. And he comes from the little team that could. Number 19, I'd watch out for Dennis Hauger as well. He's been at the top of the charts all weekend, and he's starting in that 5th position, so he's not too far from the front.
David Malukas. David, he's got to make a break here sooner or later. He just can't catch a break. Malukas finished 13th, 6th, 7th, and 18th on street course this season. He ranks 8th in street course points. David Malukas, guy that almost had the Indianapolis 500. What are your thoughts?
Definitely a quick car. I think he's got a lot of work to do starting 7th. I don't think this is the week that he picks up his first win, but I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that David Malukas, when the NTT IndyCar Series hits Milwaukee, that is when David Malukas is going to pick up his first win, because we all know the success David Malukas has on ovals.
All right, this week also, phase 1 of the 2027 NTT IndyCar Series schedule has been unveiled, and it's going to be an action-packed season. It starts with 3 straight races. Barber Motorsports Park returns to April date. You've got the streets of St. Petersburg on Sunday, March 7th, Phoenix Raceway Saturday, March 13th, and the streets of Arlington March 21st as well. Early thoughts on that, and I want to get to this big race happening next week. Go ahead.
Definitely like that the first phase has already been introduced. It's interesting because, for one, looking at St. Petersburg, that's one I'd like to go to. I usually go to Florida around that time, so maybe I can plan my Florida vacation around there. Glad to see they're going back to Phoenix now. Is Phoenix going to be, and I don't know if they announced this, Tom, I didn't see it, is that going to be the doubleheader with NASCAR as it was this year?
I have not seen that yet.
Okay. I like the fact that they're going back to Arlington. That's something I'd like to check out as well. I like that there's a lot of flow. There's not a lot of downtime. I know that's something that we've kind of harped on in the past, but yeah, like the schedule, and I'm kind of curious to see what the second half of this schedule is going to look like in 2027.
This race next weekend, we learned about last year. Everybody was excited about it. Put your political stuff behind. I think this is just exciting that this race is in DC on the 250th anniversary of the United States is in DC, in the streets of DC. And here's the other kicker. And it's, first come, first served type basis, but it's free. So if you're one of the lucky fans that are able to get into the venue, you can see it. But man, it's going to go past the White House. It's going to go past the Washington Monument to the House of Representatives, all the major monuments in DC. It's going to go past. It gives you goosebumps just to talk about. And we're not a political show, so your political standing, it does not matter. It's just going to be amazing to watch IndyCar in DC next week. What are your thoughts, sir?
Oh, I'm right there with you, Tom. I am so excited for this race. I mean, there are people that may think that this is overkill, and that's fine. That's what makes this country so great. You're entitled to your own opinion, but definitely can't wait to see what the circuit's going to look like. The pageantry, you got to take, if you're from the United States, you got to take pride in what you're about to witness next weekend. Again, as you said, I don't care what your political affiliation is, but anytime there is an event of this stature around the nation's capital, you definitely have to take a pause and soak everything in. And I think that's what these drivers are going to do, going around the historic monuments, as you just mentioned. It's going to be a once in a lifetime thing. Obviously, a country only celebrates its 250th birthday one time a year. And what way is it? Obviously, we did that on July 4th, but then having a motor sports racing event in the nation's capital on the year of the 250th birthday of this country, there's nothing better.
Absolutely. Now, we were hoping to be able to get to that race, but just it wasn't permitted, not permitted. It just wasn't feasible schedule-wise for us to make that trip. But yeah, it's going to be exciting. Couple of things here, housekeeping things. Make sure on YouTube, you're listening to us all on YouTube, but anywhere you get your podcast. But if you're a YouTuber, we've got our own channel. All of our podcasts are any podcast we've ever done in the last 20 years, if you can believe it, is all archived there on YouTube. So check that out. Also, special happy birthday to our behind the scenes producer and my lovely wife, Melissa. Happy birthday to her. She's working tirelessly, all of our great content and stuff that we get put up on social media and stuff. You can thank her for that. And happy birthday to her. And also, I wanted to take just a moment for us as a racing community, as a sports fan community. I, I don't know if you know John Stewart or not, Derek, good friends of our family. In fact, ironically, we were married at the track and he married us at the track. But John Stewart, he's the president of V Forward. They handle a lot of the marketing behind the scenes for um, uh, Juncos Racing, a lot of the sponsors and VIP setup stuff. He does that. He handles that. His company handles all that. But his son, Andrew, is a hauler driver for IndyCar. He drives a team, doesn't matter, but he drives for IndyCar, and he was involved in a horrific accident coming back from Portland. He is now in Quincy, Illinois, with traumatic brain injury. No need to go into all the details, but it was just a tragic wreck. It was a multi-car pileup. He had a passenger that was able to get out, but he is basically on life support right now. So we ask that everybody just throw the prayers out to John Stewart and his family. So we wish that best for John, but sad when stuff like that happens. Anyway, I didn't mean to end it on a down note, but Derek Vance, Push to Pass podcast. What are you guys working on this week, sir?
Before I get to that, yeah, definitely thoughts and prayers go out to that individual and his family. That sounds awful. Yeah. And no, you don't wish ill will on anybody, especially something of that nature that it affects not only his family, but obviously, as you heard, the people around him. So definitely hope he pulls through and he's able to live a normal life to what he can. And then happy birthday to Melissa. I heard she turned 21 today, so happy birthday! Yep, happy birthday to her. And then what are we working on over here at Push to Pass? Well, obviously tomorrow we'll go live around. We'll talk and discuss what we're about to witness here in the next few minutes in Markham, Ontario, with the race up there. We'll talk about that. And then obviously, just as we touched on there a few minutes ago, we will preview and discuss Washington, D.C. and all of the analysis and things of that nature. And then, as always, go check out Your News, who is the official, we're the official podcast of the official IndyCar podcast of Your News. Go over to yournews.com in the auto racing section. You'll find articles from myself, Michael Monroe over there as well. So that is what is on docket here as we start to wind down this 2026 season of the NTT IndyCar Series.
All right, Derek, we appreciate your time, and I hope you have a good week, and we will connect here soon to talk about coming up the DC race, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom, as always, you and Melissa, thank you for the opportunity to have me on and talk about IndyCar, talk about the podcast, and anything else that is mentioned.
We look forward to it. You have yourself a great week, sir. Thank you.
You too.